Today we're taking a look at a watch that is definitely not for everyone. This is from the brand Makoto. I've featured some of their watches here on my channel before. They're a Canadian brand that takes a lot of inspiration from Japan, which is kind of cool. I like the combination here. However, today's watch takes inspiration from a direct landmark in Japan. It is a famous crossing, and they've taken the design of that crossing and put it on the dial of this watch in full blocks of lume. It's a wild design, and if you've never seen something like this before, it may take a few seconds to get used to. Everything about this watch is dialed up to 11. You really need to see it to make a decision for yourself. So let's flip the camera and take a look at the Makoto Shibuya crossing watch. Like I was saying in the intro, this is definitely not going to be for everyone. You're either going to love it or you are going to hate it. This is a busy dial because they're going for a specific look. They want to make this look like the Shibuya crossing in Japan. That is a very busy area with lots of people crossing a street. It's basically an intersection, and they are trying to recreate that intersection on a dial, and they're doing it all in lume, in blocks of lume. There's going to be some changes to this dial. There's going to be some slight changes to the case. The case is going to have a slightly smaller lug to lug. I think this one has a 49 millimeter lug to lug. I think it's going to be around 47 millimeters. So we will do measurements, but the lug to lug will be smaller than the dimensions that this has. This is a prototype. It is in grade 5 titanium. You're getting a grade 5 titanium bracelet. I'll show you the bracelet in just a few minutes. Now, the dial itself will change a little bit. So the logo at the 12 o'clock or below the 12 o'clock is their logo that says their name, Makoto. That's going to change, and it's going to be their M logo. And some of the text will be simplified on the dial because, again, this is a pretty busy dial, and they want to make it a little bit more pared down. And the focus here is that lume, really, all those blocks of lume. They're going to add 4 more blocks of lume. I'll throw up a picture of what the watch will look like with those extra blocks of lume. Speaking of lume, this is incredibly lumed. That chaptering, basically everything that you see that is white on the dial is lumed. They're also going to be adding more lume to the hands, even though they are already very liberally applied with lume. We'll do a lume shot towards the end of the video, but you're going to see this is very, very liberally applied with lume because those solid blocks of lume are very bright. You have a 12, 9, 3, and 6 dial on here. It is a gray dial, orange hands, those are arrow hands, and then you have a blue seconds hand with a large lollipop on there, again, lumed. You have a lumed chapter ring, and you have a grade 5 titanium case, like I was saying before, that has a beautiful polished edge that goes along the case. 200 meters of water resistance, screwed in crown, screwed in case back, sapphire crystal. The bracelet is going to change a little bit. This is going to get slightly smaller links. I'll throw up video and pictures of the bracelet so that you can see what I'm talking about. And they're doing that because they think it will fit the case a little bit better. So I think this is based on some feedback that they've gotten, and that's the reason why they are going that route. Powering this is a Miyota 9039. That is a dateless version of the Miyota 9000 series. That makes a lot of sense to me because I'm not sure where they would put a date or how that would even work. So honestly, I think this is a smart move, not putting a date on this watch. Because it's a 9039, that means it is a thin watch. It does get 200 meters of water resistance, and it is only 11 millimeters thick. That is very good for an everyday watch. It's around 39 millimeters. I measured around 39.1 millimeters. Again, the lug to lug is 49 millimeters on this watch. It will be 47 millimeters on the production model. And again, I'll throw up a picture of what that will look like. It will look very similar to this watch, but I think they are doing that for wearability, even though for my wrist, the 49 millimeters isn't a problem. On my wrist, I have another grade 5 titanium watch. This is Kaiser Designs, and this is a grade 5 titanium watch that is made in Germany, and they actually create these cases in Germany through a 3D printing process. This is a grade 5 titanium watch, like I said, but it's a very weird, crazy design, and video for this will be dropping pretty soon. And there it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. This is on the bracelet, and I have to say, on the bracelet, it looks really cool. Definitely not going to be for everyone. This dial is busy, and of course, it is a weird design. It's not for everyone. This is not going to be a crowd pleaser in any way, in my opinion. However, if you like this dial, it is a pretty straightforward watch otherwise. Everything else is really nicely made. I know the brand, they do a great job. However, like I said, it's that dial that could be off-putting to some people. Some people will love it. I think this is definitely something different. When you have this on your wrist, people are going to ask questions, and you're going to have to explain exactly what the inspiration is behind this dial, because it is a pretty wild dial. And here it is on the supplied orange strap. They went with orange here because they wanted to match the elements on the dial. They didn't need to go with orange. They could have went with a black strap and toned this down a little bit, but they decided to go with orange because they wanted to go all the way with the design, and I think it looks really cool. You have a grade 5 titanium buckle on here that is milled and signed with the brand's logo or name on there. And this is a nylon strap. It looks great on here as well. In my opinion, I do like the overall look of this. It is kind of crazy, but I do like the look. This is a 39 millimeter watch. This watch has a 49 millimeter lug to lug. Again, that will be smaller on the production model, and 11 millimeters thick, which is very thin for a 200 meter everyday watch. And again, I have a 7.5 inch wrist. I mean, well, there you go. The lume is insane on this watch. You could definitely see that your watch is working in the dark. They're going to put more lume on the hour and minutes hand so that you could see them a little bit better against that extremely lumed background. And it is very thick lume here because they are pretty high off that dial. They sit high on the dial because they are blocks of lume. And then you have an entirely lumed chapter ring. It's not really a chapter ring, it's a minute track on the outer portion of the dial. So very, very bright and very interesting, especially in the dark. And you're going to get even more lume when they add more lume to the hands, and then those other 4 blocks, those will be lumed as well. So very interesting design with a very fun inspiration behind it, and a really good price because this is entirely made out of grade 5 titanium. The bracelet, the case, the crown, the case back, all grade 5 titanium, and that buckle on the strap is also grade 5 titanium. This is actually priced really well, under $800 at $793, I think, with the conversion from Canadian to USD, so Canadian dollar to US dollar. That's pretty good, especially with the bracelet, because the bracelet and the strap are included. And this lume will last a very long time, and lume isn't cheap. And the fact that they're going to be adding even more lume to this is kind of crazy because it is already extremely bright and legible. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I will add a link to their website. Definitely check out this watch. They have a bunch of other watches on their website, a bunch of stone dial watches that they make that are really cool. I featured those here on my channel. And they have some really cool dive watches that have a pretty unique design. They use a lot of colors, bright colors, materials. Everything about the brand is sort of Japanese inspired, and I kind of like that. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.